What's going on, guys? Coming back to y'all with another standard deck tech. This one's also on a control deck, but it's on the more popular blue-black control list. I'm a control fanatic, I actually say control freak. I absolutely love control. It's my favorite play style. I can play mid-range, tokens, reanimator, all the different strategies that are out there, but this is by far my favorite format to play. So I'm going to show off my version of blue-black tokens as of Fate Reforged. I haven't gone around looking at other people's builds yet, so I don't know if this is similar or completely different to the other builds that are floating around at the moment. However, I'm always open to suggestions. And when I get to the sideboard, I'll specifically be asking for y'all's opinion. For anyone who's actually been playing blue-black control, I want to know what cards work better that you think I should add to the sideboard. But anyways, let's go ahead and start out with a land base. Not really much to say here. 4 Polluted Delta, because fetches get us the land we need and fuel our delve mechanic for our dig through times. On that same note, we have a Flooded Strand and a Bloodstained Mire. Obviously, the off-color fetches, they'll grab one of the lands we need and fuel our delve mechanic. For the same reason I run 1 copy of Evolving Wilds. So yeah, it's all just delve fodder as well as basic land fetch and deck thinning. 4 Temple of Deceit for Scry, because finding the cards we need in our deck is super beneficial. Again, for the same reason, we run a couple of off-color Scries, 1 Temple of Malice and 1 Temple of Mystery, just to go ahead and give us one of the mana we could use. And actually, with Reforged of Yawgmoth in play, Temple of Mystery becomes essentially a 5th Temple of Deceit. But they give us one of our mana and let us scry again. 4 Dismal Backwater. Just some more mana fixing, some more land in our colors, and the additional life actually is quite useful. It's actually saved my tail in quite a few games. 1 Reforged of Yawgmoth to make everything in play a swamp. This can be very, very bad against like Mardu, where they're short on black mana. We don't really want to give them the option. We don't want to give it to them, but if it's the last thing we have in our hand and we need the land, we'll go ahead and play it. Against something like Jeskai or, Jeskai, though, it's actually pretty good. But with other black decks like Sidisi Whip, Abzan midrange, and Mardu tokens, it can be somewhat of a disadvantageous card. 1 copy of Radiant Fountain just for the 2 life. Then I run 4 basic islands. Those pretty full art basic islands, and then 4 basic swamps. So that's the land. There's 27 land in the deck, so fairly land heavy, but again, we are playing control. Into the spells now. For creatures, I do run 1 Silumgar. I'm trying this out because a 3/7 for 6 flying hexproof is already pretty cool. It fits the theme that we like in control. Whether you're a fan of Pearl Lake Ancient or Prognostic Sphinx, you want creatures that your opponent can't easily deal with. This is very difficult to deal with. It's immune to spot removal. Being a 3/7, it's very difficult to remove with other means that don't do straight up destroy effects. And whenever a dragon you control attacks, creatures defending player controls get -1/-1. So against token decks and aggro decks where they're playing 1/1 goblin tokens, Elspeth tokens, and then X1 cards like Bloodsoaked Champion and Soldier of the Pantheon, this could actually be a very, very, very powerful card. So 1 Silumgar. I still run the 2 Pearl Lake Ancient. I like having the 2 Pearl Lake in addition to the Silumgar, because the Silumgar just adds a 3rd win condition to the deck. I don't want to sacrifice one of the Pearl Lakes, though. A 6/7 for 7 flash, can't be countered prowess, bounce 3 lands to your hand to return it to your hand is too good not to want to have this keep the 2 in the main board. For counter spells, I run 4 Dissolve, because counter target spell and Scry 1 is just the best in the format right now, and then 2 Disdainful Stroke, because the mid-range decks are so popular right now. Having a couple of these main board works for this deck. Unlike in my Jeskai control where I can't afford to main board them, the blue-black can get away with doing so just fine. 4 Dig Through Time to find the cards we need to find. And again, the delve mechanic is why we love our fetch land so much. And then, of course, 3 Jason's Ingenuity. Draw 3 cards, instant speed. We're rarely going to do this on our turn. We're mostly going to wait till the end of our opponent's turn, and then just go ahead and go find some cards for some answers. For removal, we have 2 Murderous Cut. Again, delve, destroy target creature for 5 mana, 4 and a black. Most of the time, we're going to be casting this for a single black. 4 Hero's Downfall, because planeswalkers and creatures are super threatening. If our opponent has an Ugin on board or an Elspeth, Sarkon, Soren, whatever they may have, we definitely don't want it to stay there for long. So Hero's Downfall, super powerful card. Definitely love having it in here. And I'm very happy to see that this was reprinted in the class pack with a much cooler artwork. I'm going to have to try to obtain a place of those. I run 3 Bile-Blight in the main board. -3 to target creature for 2 is already pretty good. And if they control other creatures with the same name, they those also get -3/-3. So it deals with Hornet Queen tokens. It deals with Elspeth tokens. It deals with any deck that actually is a very token-heavy strategy. You know, Rabble Master. It's too good not to want to run. In worst case scenario, it's basically a kill spell for 2 mana. 3 Thoughtseize because we don't want the mid-range decks to have too much power. Being able to take one of their walkers or their Abzan, the Siege Rhino and Abzan, or the what is that new orc thing that just came out? Basically, the new Hell Rider. Thoughtseize can deal with that. It's also great against control, so I love the Thoughtseize in the main board. Then I run 2 Crux of Fate main board to at the board, as well as 3 Perilous Vault. I still think Perilous Vault is a powerful enough card to want to keep running. Some people might be opting to run maybe 1 of the Vault and the rest of Crux of Fate. I happen to like 2 Crux and 3 Vault. It's still a very powerful card and still very very fun to have our opponents play around it and crack it when we need to. Crux is still good. I just don't think it's as good as everyone thinks it is right now. But definitely worth having a couple copies in the main board. Moving on to sideboard, I keep 1 copy of Thoughtseize as well as 2 Despise. Thoughtseize comes in against the control matchups, and Despise comes in mostly against mid-range. However, I have actually brought it in against control, because any deck that plays like my Jeskai control, they run a decent amount of Planeswalkers in their decks, and they only have a couple of win conditions. Like, for example, even against another blue-black control deck, it could be beneficial to go ahead and take one of their only win conditions from them turn 1. Because most of the blue-black control, they're running 2 win conditions. Just 2 copy of Pearl Lake Ancient. These days it might be 1 Silumgar and 1 Pearl Lake, so that's very beneficial to have. 1 Bile-Blight. This comes in against the token matchups and the aggro matchups. 4 Drown in Sorrow. Again, these coming against token and aggro, where we know they're playing a bunch of smaller creatures. Being able to wipe the board is just so powerful. And at that point, we do remove the 2 Crux and 2 of the Vault. 2 Disdainful Stroke, coming against mid-range, as well as Planeswalker type decks. 2 Dissipate. This is kind of my own unique idea. I'm going to bring these in against Whip, because countering Hornet Queen and exiling it seems pretty good, as opposed to just dissolving it and they get a whip effect out of it. Getting rid of it permanently for 3 mana still seems like a very valid play to me. Then 3 copy of Negate for the control matchups and the Planeswalker matchups. Okay, so here's where the questions begin. I was wanting to add a couple of creatures to the sideboard, but I can't decide between Cherubi Murklurker and Returned Phalanx. For those of you who don't know, Returned Phalanx is a 3/3 for 2 with Defender, and pay 2, it can attack as though it didn't have Defender until end of turn. Where Cherubi Murklurker is a 1/3 for 3 with, I think it's pay 2 to give it lifelink till end of turn. I'm thinking the Murklurker could be good as a 2-of in the sideboard. However, I'm not exactly sure what I want to remove. So I'm asking y'all what y'all think I should do with it. Also, if you have suggestions for the deck at all, please leave me a comment. I'd love to hear them. I love the deck. It's extremely fun. I'm always going to be a control player till the day I die. It is just the way I like to play, and I don't care what anyone says. Control is not dead. It is just not dead. So leave a comment down below, guys, and I hope you all enjoyed. Look forward to more deck tech videos in the future. Maybe some gameplay videos, maybe some binder videos. Who knows? We'll see what comes up. And until next time, signing out. Peace.